I spent over 30 hours watching Peterbot's gameplay so you don't have to, and today I'll be breaking down everything I learned to help you instantly dominate all of your fights in Fortnite. The first concept is baiting. Baiting is when you make an opponent think you're trying to do one thing, but do another. This can be as simple as when you're dropping down on an opponent's wall and trying to take it, swing your pickaxe one time, and then bring out your shotgun. Most players will expect you to go for the wall straight away, especially if you've already dealt some damage, so by doing this you can bait them and get an easy shot off. Part of this is being able to anticipate what your opponent is going to do next, something Peterbot does very well. Players will try to catch you off guard while you're pressuring them in a fight in a desperate attempt to get a shot off and buy themselves some time. So when you're applying pressure in a fight with either your AR or SMG, every few sprays, pay attention to your opponent's movement to potentially get an easy shot off, baiting your opponent with the pressure. Another easy way to bait your opponent if you have their wall is by instantly resetting your edit. This can trick the person you're fighting into going for a shot, allowing you to quickly make an edit and deal some damage while they have a delay. If you're under pressure during a fight, to counter your opponent and catch them off guard, leave a wall open. If they're above you, most players will try to take this wall and go for a shot, but by anticipating this, you can get one instead, buying yourself some time to heal or allowing you to take the fight back to your opponent. In this particular scenario, Peterbot is getting pressured, so he slows down, pulls out his pickaxe, baits breaking the stair, then pulls out his shotgun to finish off the fight. A really good map for working on your baits is Finest Realistics, which is up on screen, but whenever you can, play ranked for the best possible practice. You don't come in first place in over 30 tournaments just by being good at baiting. Most of us now know that the right hand peek is important, but it's the way Peterbot uses his knowledge of this mechanic that sets him apart from your average player, always setting himself up on the left side of a box with a cone and two walls in front of him before trying to take a wall or make a play. When you engage from the left of your opponent, you not only make yourself harder to see, but you'll be able to see your opponent easier as well. This is because Fortnite has a third-person POV with a right shoulder preference. When going to take a wall, Peterbot rarely uses his pickaxe, opting to use his gun instead. Using your pickaxe carelessly can lead you to losing the fight or taking unnecessary damage, but by having a gun out, you can trade or take the wall back from your opponent. A common mistake players make is reloading their gun with loads of bullets left or not reloading them soon enough. I almost never saw Peterbot reload at the wrong time, and that's because if you're playing aggressively, you always want to be applying pressure to your opponent. So learning when to reload or not is a skill you need to master to finish fights off quicker. More often than not, when Peterbot has the opponent on the run, he uses a variety of phasing techniques to get into the opponent's box and finish them off. There are a few ways that you can do this. One being placing a ramp over your head, then use either your guns or pickaxe to break the wall. It's all about timing, so make sure your body hits the wall as soon as you break it. You can also learn to do this without the ramp. Don't hold your jump key down or you may end up mantling over the box. To get in from under the box, just spray with your gun and crouch and uncrouch to get pushed in. If you need to be more aggressive, use your AR or SMG to apply pressure, then just pump into the opponent's box. If you're struggling, a great map to practice your phasing and timing is this one by MrJayDubs. Phasing and baiting isn't useful, however, if you can't hit your shots. So outside of training his aim and kovacs, here are a few key things I noticed Peterbot does in Fortnite to have such consistent aim. Most players would assume going for a headshot is best option, but that's not always the case. In order to have the best possible aim with SMGs or AR, you should be aiming for the chest. The chest is the largest hitbox you can go for, so you maximize your potential damage. Fortnite has bloom as well, so more often than not, you'll hit some headshots in the process. If you have a shotgun, however, it's best to go for a headshot. A mistake players often make is rushing the shot and not doing enough damage. This comes down to trigger discipline. Most of the time when you're in somebody's box, you're guaranteed to trade anyway. Practice slowing down your aim in these situations so you can increase your chances of hitting a heavy shot and finishing the fight off quicker. If you're serious about improving your aim, Raiders 1v1 Aim Duel Map is a great way to do so. Grab a friend, set the health to 6,000, and do one round with an AR, SMG, and shotgun. Now you're on your way to aiming like Peterbot, it's time to talk about Prefires, something that can help you almost instantly improve your fighting. So let's break it down and go over how Peterbot uses it in his game. The coin flip mechanic was introduced in 2019, which causes a 150 millisecond delay in between when a build can be placed after a player breaks it. In this 150 millisecond gap, there's an opportunity to deal a large amount of damage to your opponent. So if you're on the defense and someone is pressuring your wall, let them break it and go for a shot. But always remember to set yourself up with at least another box next to you, that way you can reposition if it doesn't go according to plan. Peterbot has some of the best awareness in Fortnite, and this allows him to go for prefires that most wouldn't even think to try. When he's pressuring an opponent, Peterbot pays particular attention to the movements they make, and so should you. When players holding a Widow edit against you, most pros and Peterbot will prefire this tiny gap. Even though most of the time you can't see your opponent, you can still hit them. If a player starts to run towards his wall while being sprayed, this usually means they're trying to go for a counter shot. He anticipates this and waits with his gun out, sometimes getting a free pump off or even a kill. Even just by holding your pump out more, you'll notice you're able to get more shots, potentially leading you to ending a fight quicker than expected. The more you play, the more you'll notice what players do in certain situations, and you'll be able to react accordingly. If you want to perfect the timing of your prefires, I recommend the SlyJacks map. There are multiple scenarios, so you can practice if someone is breaking your tops, walls, or below you, and it even has diagonal angles as well. And speaking of angles, it's important to know a variety of different peaks and how to set yourself up in them. A strong technique that Peterbot uses a lot is a simple ramp edit. Edit your ramp like this and position yourself to the left like we spoke about earlier, taking advantage of the right hand peak. From this angle, your opponent can barely see you. If someone phases in and you're stuck in a box, place the ramp, quickly edit, get a shot off, reset it, then edit again from a different angle to finish them off. If you can jump with your shot to make it even harder for your opponent to hit you, then do so. When trying to set up your angles properly in fights, pay attention to the gray border around edits. This shows you the actual end result of your edit so you don't get caught out of position. Switching up your angles in a fight is also important so you don't become too predictable. Make sure you're swinging with your peaks as well. It'll be even harder to get shot and easier to reset your edit, making sure you don't take any unneeded damage. Window edits are also quite strong as long as you position yourself right. And if you need an easy peak for when opponents are above you, learn the Martaz peak. Place a ramp, a floor over your head, then another ramp, then jump and take your shot. The timing of this can be tricky to get used to, but it's a great off angle to have at your disposal. This should be common practice now as well, but make sure to fight with a cone in your box. Not only does it make sure an opponent can't sneak a ramp in, but it'll give you better angles to engage your opponent from. To practice your angles and positioning, I highly recommend this map by Raider464. Every time you take a bad peek, the bot will deal damage to let you know. You can change the size of the target and how fast it reacts if you want to push yourself. If you're serious about improving fast, then I can't stress how important warming up is. And since you made it this far in the video, I can't stress how much dropping a sub or like on the video helps if you feel up to it. The reason for warming up is so important, it's not just so you play more consistently. Playing when you're not warmed up will cause you to make mistakes you usually wouldn't. By warming up and then playing, you'll be able to understand what your actual weaknesses are. One of the best ways to warm up before playing, outside of having a routine, is by playing 1v1s with a friend. If you're struggling to find people, I recommend to play with people from Twitter or join a Discord and find people around your level. Ours is in the description below. Share your progress and placements, and players will soon start hitting you up to play. We just released our 1v1 map, so if you're looking for one to warm up, we work tirelessly to make sure this has as little delay as possible. To finish off, here's 3 tips from Peterbot's 12th place finish in the recent solo cash cup. At number 1, it's to always build backwards. In this scenario, Peterbot picks up some damage chasing down an opponent. As a player begins engaging, Peterbot extends, not left or right, but backwards. In most fights, players will look to place cones to your left and right, and even if they do place one behind you, they most likely won't be able to use it to their advantage. Peterbot heals up and then proceeds to engage. He gets a nice shot off, then changes angles and gets the kill. Number 2, if we learn anything from Peterbot, it's that sometimes it's okay to just jump in and get the kill. In this scenario, Peterbot deals some damage to his opponent, but knows there's a third party nearby, so he simply sprays in and picks up the kill, quickly and efficiently. Then he proceeds to do this when the third party comes back. Number 3, something we touched on earlier, but we can't stress enough, is to pay attention to what your opponent is doing, then react. In this off-spawn fight, Peterbot does just that. The player builds a ramp to try and force himself into Peterbot's box. Peterbot resets his wall, baiting his opponent, hits a massive shot, then does the same again to pick up an easy kill. So just to recap, look for opportunities to bait your opponents more, pay attention to how you set yourself up before fights, use your weapons instead of your pickaxe when trying to take a wall or pressure your opponent, pay attention to your ammo and work on your reload management, practice different phasing techniques and your timing to help finish off fights quicker, aim for the chest with your AR or SMG, and when in a close quarters fight, pay attention to your trigger discipline, utilize Prefires more and pay attention to the movements your opponent makes, hold your pump out more, practice different angles, and when in a fight, constantly switch your angles up, always fight with a cone in your box, and warm up before playing to maximize how fast you improve. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, leave a comment below and subscribe with notifications on to never miss an upload.